Welcome to Two Flippin' Dudes. I am your host, Jason, as always, with my co-host here, Chris. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you. Well, on tonight's show, if you're not checking out this section, you should, because you're leaving some high margin items behind. And we're going to be talking to you about golf, mainly equipment, some clothing, but we want to fill you in on what items are selling really well at thrift stores, but more specifically at garage sales, because you can find really good items and the weather's heating up. So it's time to start listing those golf equipment that you're finding. We're going to let you in on some brands that sell well for us. But first things first, it's Thursday night. This is our live show. And I just want to thank everyone for jumping in so far. It's always fun to see you guys. And whether you're watching live tonight or whether you're watching after the recording, thanks for watching. We love you guys. We're thankful for you. And we wouldn't be here without you. So, Chris, what's this show all about?
Welcome, everyone, to Two Flippin' Dudes. This is a live weekly show by resellers for resellers. Jason and I do this show for three simple reasons. We love reselling. We love talking about reselling. And we hope you walk away from this episode and every episode with a couple little tidbits that will help grow your business or maybe get you started with a reselling or flip game business. So welcome everybody to the show. It wouldn't be the same if y'all weren't out there in the comments making it fun.
And we'll kick it off. MJ says, first time here, excited to learn. So MJ, thank you for jumping in. Glad to have you. Love first timers. So I do want to point out, and if you've been watching us, you know that questions are a big part of this show. Chris and I love your questions. We love being able to help in any way that we can. And there may be someone in the chat that can help you as well. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments. We'll get to them later tonight in our section for questions. But yeah, thanks for watching. And one other thing I want to say before we get going is, we would love for you to like this video. We really want to help you. And if you like this video, if you like us, you like reselling, just tap the like button and give it a thumbs up so that someone can see this video out there, join our broadcast tonight, and have fun with us. So with that, Chris, it's been 2 weeks since our last show. So I know a lot has happened probably in your world and mine as well. What's been going on with you?
I'm accepting. Well, I'm counter offering an offer right now, so that's why I'm kind of looking off the screen here. A lowball offer. Hey, from Derry, New Hampshire. That's the town right next door to Londonderry, where I grew up. How about that? Stop
maybe
lowballing
you should accept it then for that reason. Some sentimental value there. What's the offer?
It was $14 for a Ralph Lauren shirt. But anyway, what's new in my world? The new thing for me is running. I'm actually maybe a little bit red in the face right now because I just got back from my run. So trying to whip my butt back into shape and not just, work all the time and flip all the time, but actually try to take care of myself a little bit. So my wife and I have started running. We've run a couple times this week. We ran a couple times last week too. We're not winning any races or setting any Guinness records here, but it does feel good to kind of get out and start moving the body again. It's been a while since I had a running routine.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels rusty just getting back into it, but man, so good to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather. Yeah,
and I got to be honest with you. I think it was harder convincing myself to get out than it was actually going out there and doing it. And I was, when I came back and it was over, I was like, that wasn't actually so bad. I think, you make it into something so big, committing to it, lacing up the shoes and going and doing it. But it does feel good. I don't feel good running. There's a lot of walking involved. Let's be serious. But it is good to get out. And I think it removes a layer of guilt that I have from not running, right? Just by doing it, even if I'm not doing it well, I think is good for my mental health too. So.
Yeah, it's amazing, not just with running, but how there's so much that we put in our mind of an obstacle of doing something, starting something. And then once you just commit mentally to, I'm going to put my shoes on, so to speak, then it's all this momentum changes and it's oh, I can do this. I've found that to be true with a lot of things as well. So I'm learning just to get started and let the rest take care of itself.
That's textbook for me. And I'm actually doing that with taxes also. And I got myself all set up. I carved out some time on Tuesday and I was like, Tuesday, I'm doing taxes. Yeah, I didn't do any taxes on Tuesday. So that's the next sort of frontier that I'm going to battle now that I got the running routine up and going, and now I got to go
Well,
rustle.
that's the not fun beast for sure. Taxes is definitely something that nobody looks forward to unless you're getting that huge refund. But even still, you got to work for it.
There will be no refund on my end, so that might be part of the lack of enthusiasm for it.
Yeah, well, I understand
What's new in your world? You're just coming back from some time away. I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, so those of you watching, we didn't go live last week because my wife and I were on vacation in Denver, which was a lot of fun. Chris, honestly, and you were kind of in a similar situation when you moved out of Denver, because you moved around the same time we did. It was kind of the start of COVID, a couple months in, and the state shut down like many states. And so leaving, we didn't get to see friends like we really wanted to. We didn't get to eat at those restaurants for the last time, get outside and do things. And so this trip was kind of the redemption trip for, let's go see our friends. Let's go to those restaurants we've been wanting to go to. And we got to, I got a day of skiing in, so that was fun. It was honestly a blast. I turned off TikTok, didn't do anything on YouTube, did minor stuff on eBay. And it was just fun to kind of disconnect and take a real break for a week. So, but I will say, even though I said real break, thrifting is not work for me. And we definitely thrifted, got tons of stuff. I mean, Colorado is a gold mine. And I came home with like a carload full of stuff topped to the brim. So yeah, it was definitely worth it in that category too.
Do you have a YouTube video dialed up of some of the the thrifting out in Colorado, or some of your haul maybe?
No, I don't. I didn't even take cameras or anything. I wanted it to be a complete break. And so I didn't film anything. Yeah. So no footage, but plenty of a death pile over here to show what I got. But yeah, it was good.
I'm jealous. You probably went to some of my favorite thrift stores, I'm sure, and probably some of my favorite restaurants too. And I know you got out skiing, and I've skied 0 days this winter, so definitely jealous of that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I hate to brag, but it was like 43 and sunny on the mountain. It was just perfect weather for skiing. Yeah, so it was good. Walked around Wash Park, had a blast.
I think we got a good timely question from Dawn, the Dawn of Thrifting. She's asking about store and vacation mode. Can you talk a little bit about how you handled your vacation with your eBay store?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Thanks, Dawn, for asking that. You can put it on vacation mode, but let me just tell you what I do specifically. I mean, I don't necessarily put it on vacation mode, I guess, per se, because when you put it on time away, I guess is eBay's new vacation mode, then all of your listings have kind of that banner that says the seller is away on vacation, returning on this day. And I've never used that, but I feel like it could deter people from wanting to buy from you if they know that you're away. But I'll tell you what I did do. I received several offers. So before I left, I bumped all of my shipping and handling, or my handling, out 5 days to account for the week that I was going to be gone. And so that way, if something sold, technically I had 5 business days to ship it. So, we left on the weekend, got back the next weekend. So that meant I shipped everything out Sunday. But as I was getting offers, what I've noticed from past vacations is if you don't ship out within a couple of days, people start to get antsy and they may reach out and say, hey, why haven't my shorts shipped yet? And so to kind of prevent that and be a little proactive this time, anytime I received an offer, I had like a message that I just copied and pasted from my phone that would say something like, hey, I'm on vacation. I'm returning, Saturday, March, if we can agree on a price and you're willing to wait, I will ship this out as soon as I get back. And so that kind of gives them the heads up ahead of time, like, hey, if you still want to go through with this offer and accept, then I will ship it. It will just be a few days later. And I don't think I lost any sales on that. I mean, a lot of people were like, cool, no rush. Thanks for letting me know, and accepted offers. So that's kind of how I did it. But I do have a video on that on time away. And I show you, if you want to use eBay's time away, it is intuitive and it is helpful. It's very simple to use. There's a video on that on my channel. So go ahead and feel free to look at that if you're wanting an alternative to what I just explained to you. So great question, Don. Thanks so much. Well, Chris, we last time we chatted in our live, we talked about Facebook. We talked about the advantages and kind of talked about what we're doing, what we're selling. You gave some stats that were really key. And so I kind of want to just, we set it up that we're going to talk about this check-in from time to time. And so I'm curious, I've been gone for a week, but I know you've been thrifting and sourcing and doing day-to-day stuff. So how is Facebook looking for you? Have you gotten any more listings up? Have you made any sales? I'm just curious, update on that.
So when we talked 2 weeks ago, asked about this, I had one listing on Facebook Marketplace. Today I have 4, but 2 of those are just stuff I would have listed anyway. They're furniture items, a couple of couches that I'm flipping. So I have kind of 2 things that are like also on my eBay store. I have a scarf, which is a Portland Timbers, an MLS soccer team scarf, and I have a pair of Jordans listed on there, Air Jordan shoes. That's it. Not a lot of action on those listings. A handful of views. The Jordan's got a decent amount of views, but nothing like what they get on eBay. Jordans on eBay will get 100 plus views in a week or so. I think there's probably like 18 views on those Jordans, and I think the scarf has like 7 views. So no offers, no questions, or none of the is this still available yet? But yeah, that's my Facebook Marketplace world right now. I'm actually surprised. Furniture moves really fast for me on Facebook Marketplace, and I've gotten one is this still available in just about 2 weeks of having a couch and a love seat listed. So I'm kind of surprised by that, and not many views.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, what's your impression on that, compared to listing on eBay? Where are you on setting up that listing for Facebook and creating, like a cross post?
I find that it's much quicker for sure. The amount of time that I'm going to spend putting a Facebook Marketplace listing up is nothing. I mean, the first one took me a little time because I hadn't listed one with the shipping. So it was kind of just working through that. I think the first time took me a couple extra minutes. I think I had to link my bank account, which I didn't have linked initially. So that took a few extra minutes. But for the second posting, it was nice and quick, especially since I already had an item description with measurements and photos done for eBay. It was just some simple copy and pasting. So I do plan on doing a lot more of that. I said death pile first, taxes second, and then I'm going to focus on cross listing. So death pile, I'm making progress on. Taxes you already heard about. That's no progress, but Facebook Marketplace after that.
So that means we'll check in next week on your progress on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe I'll have 1 or 2 listings more and like 5 more views maybe, but we'll see. Yeah. I still am a big believer in Facebook Marketplace. I don't think in the short term, it's definitely not going to replace eBay for me. eBay is my bread and butter, but I am excited about the possibilities for it.
Yeah, it's great to have as an additional option. Because as we've talked about last time, clothing isn't going to be necessarily the market for Facebook Marketplace, but there's still a market for other stuff that we have on eBay. So, I actually sold 1 item over these last 2 weeks on Facebook. I didn't create any new listings. Obviously, I was away, but sold 1 item that we'll be hearing from later on in our game. So I'll show you that and explain more about that later. But it's still a great option, and for some categories, moves really fast on sales. So, yeah, Tricia Smith, I've had really good success on Marketplace. Love the lower fees. I mean, when you sell an item that you've got listed on eBay and Facebook, and it, you see how much you saved comparatively on fees, it's just a no-brainer. It's amazing. So,
and to be honest with you, zooming out a little bit, part of the reason why I haven't really been focusing on Facebook Marketplace is because my eBay sales have been going through the roof this month, right? So we started talking about this in late February and talking about, hey, what about Facebook Marketplace? Because we were both looking to boost our sales.
Right.
My sales on eBay, 43% I'm up month to month from February to March right now. So that's really awesome. So I've been busy. I'm like, well, I'm going to get all this stuff up on eBay as quick as I can. I've been busy shipping stuff out. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good feeling, especially coming from like a slower Q1. So it feels like it has turned a little bit. Well, why don't we show some of the items that we got? And I'm excited because I've got some fresh items from Denver. And so I'll start and show a couple of these items and then kick it over to you, Chris.
Right on. I'm excited about these Denver picks.
So this, I'm doing this first for a couple of reasons, but one of them is this came from our favorite store in Denver, Mile High Thrift. that was obviously the first place I was going to go to. We had to make time for that. But the brand on this is, this is always hard to do. Alico. I don't know if you can see it there. But if you see right next to the brand Alico, it says made in Italy. And these boots, obviously new, but they were $50. So those that don't know, Mile High is a little higher price, but their quality of items is so much better than other stores. I looked at these and I'm like, $50, man, I hardly ever dropped that much on a pair of shoes. Looked them up in the store, and there was like some comps for 125 to 150. So that made it worth it for me to pick them up. They've got like some kind of fur on the inside. But listen to this. I got home and I'm listing them today, and there was a sold comp. It was $375 plus shipping, and a best offer had been accepted. So I don't know how much they sold for, but they were asking around $400. So I felt really good after seeing that, and definitely glad that I didn't go off the first instinct and look those up again before I listed.
Wow, that's an awesome find. That's huge.
I mean, that's pretty rare for a pair of even boots to sell for that much, and they haven't sold yet. So we'll see how much they go for, but it's not a brand that's well known. But anytime you see made in Italy, it's kind of a no-brainer to look it up on boots. This was another Mile High thrift find. Fox, not racing, but Fox, like cycling shorts, biking, mountain bike shorts. And then you can see like the Ranger on the back there. There's the Fox logo. I paid like $12 for these, which again, those are Mile High prices for those of you unfamiliar. But look these up, and minimum of 35, and some going for closer to 50 on those shorts. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer for me too on that. Spending 12 to make 40 or 50 for sure. But they're in pretty good condition. So Fox mountain bike shorts, great brand to look for.
It is a great brand. And a lot of people don't realize that Western North Carolina, out in the mountains like Asheville and Boone area, is a mecca for outdoor manufacturing, like outdoor clothing, outdoor goods. People don't realize that, but there is a ton of outdoor manufacturers. And guess what? Fox is out there now too. They
really
moved, a lot of it. I don't know if it was all of their manufacturing, but they built out a facility out there just a couple of years ago in Asheville also.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
There is a ton. There's a huge list we could go through of Asheville-based outdoor companies that are doing their manufacturing now.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of their manufacturing is actually happening in China, but like headquarters and some of their manufacturing,
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about this spring summer season coming. Of course, being in Florida, I'm probably a lot closer to both spring and summer than many of you out there. But I'm excited because sales for summer stuff have really started to pick up for me. I've noticed it. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to focus on some of that stuff today. So number one, this is a brand I've showed off before. There we go. Tory Richard. Tory Richard, definitely an awesome made in Hawaii, made in the USA brand. This one is 100% silk. I've been picking them up a lot lately. Both silk and cotton sells. Obviously, the brighter colors and the more interesting patterns do better. So this shirt right here, this is an easy $30, probably $35 shirt. It's a size 2XL. Big sizes are always better, but these bright patterns do really well. Silk does better for Tory Richard. They both sell, but silk is going to get you more money. So really excited about that find. Tory Richard's starting to sell pretty quickly for me right now.
Yeah, that's the brand that you've had a lot of success
summer stuff. I'm going in a different direction. We just talked about the beach a little bit. Now let's talk about kind of getting out into the mountains or into the rivers.
Nice.
Brand is Cabela's. This is a 5XL.
Look at that.
It is gigantic. This is a Cabela's guide wear. What's unique about this shirt? So this is a fishing shirt. It's a nylon shirt with a like polyester mesh fence. But one thing to look out in this brand and a lot of brands is UPF 50. So that means that it is it's got like sunscreen built into it, I guess, sun protectant built into it. So people are looking for this who are fishers. But there you go. How do you recognize if a shirt is a fishing shirt? Generally, it's because you see these vents. So here's a vent in the shoulder. Oftentimes they'll have, this has a big vent on the back. Sometimes there's vents in the armpits too. This one doesn't have that, but that's a good tip off that you have a fishing shirt. So that mesh vents is what you're looking for. Cabela's is one common brand. I don't pick up a ton of this, but I do pick up Cabela's in big sizes and interesting pieces like this. But 5XL, 5 extra large tall all day. There's probably one
guide wear
is listed on eBay, or maybe 0 of those shirts listed on eBay right now. So
yeah, guidewear is a great find for Cabela's too.
Right on. I agree. I'm going to go one more. I'm going to zig a little bit, and then I'll go back to you. I have some more outdoor kind of spring, summer stuff, but you've been talking so much about bowls, and you've been selling bowls and plateware. So I'm trying to step up my game in that world too. So do you recognize this brand, Jason, just by looking here?
I have no clue, honestly.
Nice. I got you with one. Ray Dunn.
Wait, hang on. Ray Dunn. Okay. It looked like B and E.
So this is a brand that I've heard about resellers talking about mugs, and I've actually picked up a mug that actually it says Bride on it, and it's a mug, and it had that same exact font. So when I was in the thrift store and I saw that font on this bowl, I said, hey, I bet you that's a Ray Dunn, and flipped it over, and sure enough. So I got this listed right now for $26 plus shipping. I paid $3 for it at the thrift store. It's part of a set. I forget what the other 2 bowls say. They say something different. But this was one bowl of the set. So I saw one. I was like, man, maybe the other 2 pieces are here. So I was kind of going all throughout. They have a lot of plateware and bowls and stuff at this one particular thrift. So I was going all through. I was like, show me some more Ray Dunn. Give me some of those bowls. But didn't end up finding it. That's okay. There's not many of them listed. I think this will sell pretty quickly.
So you knew that was Ray Dunn just from the writing on the side? Is that what you said?
Yeah, the font. I literally have, it's not within arm's reach, but I have a mug that says Bride on it, and that same exact font.
Okay, I see.
Same color. So it was just, it was familiar to me. So I was able to eyeball it. And that's what's cool about, like, you find like one thing from a brand, like, which I found one mug from Ray Dunn a couple weeks ago, and now I'm like a Ray Dunn expert, right? Like now I found 2, but it becomes easier, right? You recognize that thing from across the room now, when I'd never even really heard of Ray Dunn as of maybe 3 weeks ago when I found that first piece.
Yeah. I'll show another item going out of the clothing section, but got this sweet piece, and you can tell it's great condition. This is stuff that I've found a few of these before in the past and just never thought to look them up, and something told me just take a look at it. But it's a Steelers Super Bowl 14 champions Stein, obviously, and on the back it's got like the season record and the scores and stuff from their games. Paid $4 for it. There it is. And was surprised that this guy goes for like $26 to $32, including shipping. So, if I can pay a few bucks for like a mug that's going to go on the upper 20s to low 30s, I'll definitely do that, as opposed to like 4 into 18. So, yeah, kind of surprised by that, but that was a cool piece. I'm sure there's a collector out there looking for a Steelers Stein like that.
I think the key there is that 1979, right? If you're talking about a 2006 season or something, that, that might still have some value, but the fact that it's, 1979, I think and it has all the, the scores on it. I think that's what makes that thing worth money.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice find. I like that.
We've got a couple of questions that have come in, some really good questions that I want to get to before we move on to our featured segment tonight. I'm going to put this one up here, Mark, and I'll kick this to you, Chris, but Mark asks how we ship, what we use, and when to know how to do, or when should we use insurance, or basically, I guess, what price would you consider insurance on an item? And then
Mark,
maybe
it's really good to see your name in the chat. That's awesome. Thanks for joining the show. It means a lot to me that you're hanging out. Really good question too. We could probably do a whole hour show about shipping, but I'll give you a couple of quick thoughts on that one. Number one, I ship 90% of my items through USPS, maybe closer to 95%. I ship something today, UPS. And I'd say I probably do UPS maybe once a month, and FedEx, I'm probably shipping about 6 or 8 items out through FedEx a month. So most is going USPS, but I look at prices for all 3, and depending on the weight, the dimensions, and where it's going, one of those 3 could be the cheaper option than the other, and I'm going to go cheaper option. Do I buy insurance with the carriers on expensive items? I do. So USPS priority items all come with $50 of insurance automatically built into that shipping label. So you always got 50. If an item is like, say, $500 maybe or more, I consider adding extra insurance onto that item. So one item that I've been selling kind of in that high dollar range, not kind of in the high dollar range, in the high dollar range, like 500 plus is sports cards. So I have been shipping those priority, getting the $50 insurance built in, and then I'll add more insurance. So if I was going to say sell something for $500, it comes with $50 of insurance. To buy the extra $450 of insurance is probably something like $6. I don't have the calculator in front of me right now, but $6-8 would be my guess to buy up the rest of the insurance, maybe even less. So I would do that. But on things that are $100-200, I'm not buying the additional insurance on, because I so rarely have lost packages or broken items. So I think that answers that question. When you have customer claims that they haven't received a package, so specific to eBay, once that, if that package gets delivered, like marked as delivered by the shipper, either FedEx or USPS, kind of, if they claim that it didn't show up, I'm kind of good. I don't have to worry about that, because I did my job and USPS got it there. They got to fight with USPS personally. There is muck and mire. There's layers to that, and there's cases that get opened. And that's probably a conversation for another time, but that's not something I have to deal with a lot. In 2020, I sold and shipped over 1,000 items, and I dealt with cases like that maybe less than 10 times out of 100. And that's in 2020 sucked for shipping, by the way, in case you didn't know. With COVID hit in March, it slowed everything down. It was a train wreck. They got, colossally, they were behind, all through December and even into January, even a little in February with all those storms too. So shipping has been terrible. Even with that said, I'd say probably something like 10 cases out of 1,000 paid and shipped items. So I think that's something that scares people a lot. They want to have insurance and they're all worried about shipping. But for me, once you get the hang of shipping and you work through some early, beginners challenges that is inherent with anything. Once you get through that, I don't know. Shipping isn't, I don't think as scary as people make it out to be.
Yeah. Great answer. Trisha asked a good question on full-time versus part-time, determining how to know like what you pay yourself versus reinvesting. And Trisha, I would say, for those who are part-time, maybe you have aspirations of full-time, but even if you're just part-time, want to be full-time, that's totally fine. But I would say this, reinvest as much as you can, because obviously you're investing in something that is going up in value. So if you sell an item, you make $20 profit, go buy 4 more things and, quadruple your inventory, so to speak, from the 1 to the 4. So reinvest as much as you can. That's my advice. But as far as going full-time and knowing how much you need to take out, that's when it gets a little more dicey. And that's one thing to definitely think about before you go full-time. I don't want to give you necessarily a specific number, just because it's going to be different depending on your situation. And when I went full-time, my wife had a great job. And so most of her salary paid the majority of our bills. And so I didn't have to bring in a lot. I didn't have to pay myself a lot, I should say, in order for us to be okay. So that was my scenario. It's going to be different across the board, and there's not a cookie cutter answer to give you. But I would say as much as you can invest in your business, if your business is growing and to the point where you're really rapidly growing your inventory, then why not invest in that as much as you can? So there's not really a simple answer, and I'm sorry that's the case. But I'd imagine if you ask Chris and I that question, we'd have different answers just because we're in different scenarios. And there was a follow-up question that I wanted to answer.
Well, frankly, my answer changes from 1 month to the next, because I have different levels of inventory, different levels of sales, different financial challenges, with the home and the family. So yeah, Trisha, before I answered that question, I wouldn't even attempt it. Nice job, Jason, for going after it. I wouldn't even attempt it till I asked you like 10 other questions. Like, how much sales do you have? What are your goals for the business? Are you skipping meals because you're not paying yourself from your business? Are you investing at all in your future, your retirement? Are you behind on your bills? I'd have to ask so many questions before I could give you like a number, right? It's it's going to be really case by case.
Yeah, it really is. And kind of a similar question to that is separate bank accounts. This is something that I did once I officially once I became a business, once I filed for an LLC, maybe even before that, I just went and got a separate checking account. So it was still in our personal account, but it was a separate checking account. Doesn't even have to be a business. In order to get a business account, you need an EIN number. So it can just be a separate checking account just to keep it separate from your personal, which I think is key. And it's a lot easier than mixing all of your money, so to speak, from personal to business together. That gets a little dicey, and accountants don't like to see that. So as best you can separate, I would just recommend open up another checking account, call it your business name or your store name or whatever, and just funnel everything in and out of that from business. So thank you, Jessica, for that question. Hopefully that answered what you were looking for. Well, Chris, those are great questions, guys. And if we have time, we'll get into some more tonight. But we do want to move into our featured segment of the night. And we're going to be talking about golf. Golf can be a very high margin item if you know what you're looking for. And especially now that it's spring, summer's coming, people are out golfing, they're looking for equipment. You may have some people out there that are wanting to get into the sport who don't want to spend $1,000 on a set, but they want to get in, so they'll spend a couple $100. So I'm going to show you a couple of items that you can be on the lookout for. I'll give you some brands as well. And this is going to be a very topographical view. Just know that I'm going to move fast. There may be a few things that kind of stick with you, but hopefully something sticks and you can find it whenever you're out yard sailing or at the thrift stores. So when I think about golf, there are two things I could talk about. Mainly, I could talk about equipment or clothing. I won't spend a lot of time on clothing tonight because I do a lot of videos and TikToks on that. Oh, sorry about that. But I'll just kind of give you some brands that I look for with clothing, and then I'll spend most of my time talking about equipment. So for clothing, FootJoy is a great brand. Nike Golf, Under Armour, Adidas, Peter Millar, and then any kind of shirt that has a Masters logo. Those are kind of the overarching golf brands that I would say be on the lookout for. And I'll just throw out a disclaimer as well. Depending on the brand, I'm picky with certain brands on what I pick up. So that doesn't mean that I pick up all Nike Golf. So I would just encourage you on those brands, make sure to look them up in the store and get an idea of what certain items sell for, because you definitely have some older Nike Golf items that aren't worth as much. I do have a couple items I want to show you in clothing behind me. So I'll grab those and show you exactly what I'm looking for now. So this first brand probably isn't a surprise to you guys because we've talked about it before, but Peter Millar, there's the logo, and that's kind of an unorthodox logo, but you can see the crown there. Peter Millar is an expensive golf brand. A polo like this, you can get an offer of $25 to $35, including shipping. So Peter Millar is definitely a great brand to look out for. I mean, new with tags, these shirts go for, $50 to $100. So great brand, holds value, and people are looking for these shirts. So be on the lookout for Peter Millar. This guy that I have hanging here in the back is an example of a Masters logo. So some of you that may not be familiar with golf, this logo right here, the yellow United States with the flag on the inside. This is a tournament that's taking place in 2 weeks, the second week of April. And it's called the Masters. It's one of 4 majors. It's a very well-known tournament, probably one of the more popular tournaments that the tour plays on. So if you can find anything with this Masters, you'll have different brands, but if they have this logo, I've got like a green hat. Green is the color of the tournament. So that's kind of the better seller of items. So there's a hat with the Masters logo. And just to give you an idea, Chris, I don't know if you remember, but I had some TikTok videos where I picked up like 5 Masters in one day. Well, I listed those, and in the last month, I went back and tracked. I've sold 7 Masters shirts for a total of $251 over that last month.
That's insane. I found a Masters shirt yesterday. How about that?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Have you ever found this tag before, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know that tag. Let me take a look at it. Clubhouse collection. Never seen it, but made in Italy.
Yeah, and it's a poly. I think it's a poly. blend. Let me see. It's a cotton lyocell spandex blend, so a little stretch to it, and a moisture wicking stretch shirt to it. I've never seen that brand before, but it's got the America with a golf flag on it. So as Colts Comics just said in the chat, yeah. So that's I'm thinking that's probably a $25-$30 shirt, eh?
Yeah, I would. So those of you watching, I would say 25 to 35 is dead on. You may be wondering, 7 for 251 on the master shirts. There was one shirt in that lot that sold for $75. And that shirt was the combination of what I just showed you. It was Peter Millar and it was a Masters, which is kind of the holy grail. If you can find a Peter Millar with a Masters, it's a good winner. It goes for a lot of money, obviously $75. So that's kind of the clothing. I don't want to focus on that too much, but I do want to get into equipment. And I'm going to share my screen with you and show you a few brands. And I've got some clubs. You may not know, but when I was a kid, I played golf quite a bit up into like high school. And then as I've gotten older, I've kind of let it go a little bit. It's just a lot of time. But I do have some clubs. I'm going to show you what I'm looking for when I'm out there looking for golf stuff. So equipment is where you can get the best margin, because you can find a club for a few bucks and you sell it for 50 to 100, depending on what you find. So let's start off. I'll throw some brands at you here. And I want to show you this first brand. And we'll start with brands that are more well-known. So this first one is going to be like kind of the premium golf brand that a lot of tour players play with, wear on their hats or have clubs, whatever, what have you. And then we'll work our way down to still good, notable brands, but not as great. So Titleist, or maybe that's my opinion, but Titleist, here's the logo. You can see it on hats. And if you find hats, pick them up. Those sell, especially if they've got like Titleist FootJoy collab there. And this is just an example of like some iron sets here that you can find and some drivers. So that's more equipment based. Let's move on to this next brand, Callaway. And I actually have some Callaway clubs I'll show you, but that's the logo right there with that like triangular arrow thing. And I need to go back to see if I can, yeah, there we go. So you can see this is a 3-wood and it's got the 3 on there, Big Bertha Fusion. There's the Callaway on the side. Something like this, you can normally pick up these clubs for like $2 to $5. If you're at yard sales and people know what they have, they may price them a little more, but you know, this is an older club, so don't hold me to this one. But if you find Callaway woods drivers, you can definitely sell them for 40, 50 and up, depending on how old they are. And then I'll show you, here's an example of an iron. So again, these are older. These are my personal set, but the Big Bertha Callaway irons, this is just one of the set that I pulled out. Whether you find just one, which some people out there are looking for one club, maybe they broke a club, or people are looking for sets. And so Callaway is a great brand. Big Bertha is kind of what they're known for. They've got some others out there as well. But basically what I'll do is, you know, you saw Callaway Fusion. I'll just put that right into eBay. Most of the time, the brand and the, you know, the model or whatever, what have you, is on the club. I'll just put that right into eBay, get an idea. And then with golf clubs, I've been trying to sell them locally. So I use eBay for comp research, and then I'll post them locally. But you can still ship using more of the longer USPS like tube boxes if you're looking to ship as well. All right, let's go back to my screen here.
Comment coming your way, Jason. You said that those were old clubs, but they didn't.
What did you say, Chris?
They didn't have much wear on them.
Yeah, those are like 10 to 12 years old. So I haven't played golf in a while, Chris. It's the last few years has been it's expensive and time consuming.
You don't need to get defensive with me. I'm just giving you a hard time. What's your
handle? I know. Next up is Taylormade. This is a great brand. There's the logo there. And obviously, you know, irons and woods or irons and drivers. I'll show you one that I have. So this is my driver here. Taylormade burner. And again, you just look that up into eBay and it tells you exactly how much it's worth. So something like this, even though I got this a while ago, this would still sell for good money if I wanted to list this now. And I will say, golf clubs are getting bigger and bigger. So if you find like these drivers that are dinky, that probably is a sign that it's a older club and you may not want to buy it. And with that being said, I would say the best bet is probably going to be at yard sales to find stuff like this. That's where I've gotten the most, or had the most luck compared to like thrift stores. Thrift stores get a lot of really old clubs that aren't worth anything. They're rusted, they're no-name brands, or they're cheap brands. And so I always go look in that thrift store section, but I hardly ever find stuff worth picking up. And it could just be where I am too. But yeah. All right, moving on. Here's Ping. Ping's a great brand. I don't find this brand very often. So there's the logo there. And then Odyssey is a brand that sells putters. And so if you can find an Odyssey putter, even if it's an older 10-year-old putter, you can still get 30, 40 bucks for it if it's in good condition. And then the last brand I'll show you today is Nike Golf. Keep in mind that Nike Golf no longer makes golf clubs, but even after they've discontinued, you can still find, you can still find sets out there. Twice I found Nike sets for 50 bucks, 40 or 50, and Flip for 200 to 250. So like I said, people are still looking for sets to pick up. So that's kind of an idea of what you can find if you're looking in the golf section. They have huge margin. And a lot of times thrift store workers, they'll just list their clubs at $2, put them in the bin, and they move on. And that's where you can really scoop and score some awesome golf items. So if there are brands I missed, go ahead and put those in the chat. I know that there are a lot of brands out there, but those are kind of the 5 or 6 higher end brands to be looking for with golf. So hopefully, guys, you'll find stuff out there on your next yard sale trip to profit off of.
Colt's comment, it sounds like he needs some new clubs. He says, all of my golf clubs get thrown into a lake when I play. I'm guessing maybe, is that why you don't have a full set behind you, Jason?
Actually, that's so funny you said that, Chris. I mean, I know you're reading the comments, but the irons I actually pulled out of a pond on a golf course.
No way.
I just happened to go visit my grandparents who live on a course, and they were like, my grandfather was like, hey, I was playing with a guy today who got so mad that he just chunked all his clubs in the pond. And it was like a newer set. So I went down to that pond. I'm like, I'm going to find those clubs. Got in. It was dark, but I got in, waited around, and pulled out like most of them. And that's what I've been using. They're really good clubs.
That's awesome. I thought you were just going to like say the story like, oh, I was just swimming in a pond at a golf course and I came across these clubs. So I grabbed them.
Yeah, and Colts Comics, Jeremy, who was saying that, it's funny, he's got a video on TikTok where he sold a vintage McGregor golf bag for like $300 and something. It's something that I would have passed by and not given it a second look, to be honest.
Yeah, I probably would have just said like, hey, cool, an old golf bag that nobody would ever want. But yeah, that thing, what an awesome flip, getting $300 for that thing.
And before we move on to our game real quick, I do want to answer this. How do you ship a golf club? Now, this isn't going to work with drivers because they're going to be longer, but USPS has these tubes that look like a triangular shape. If you were just shipping like a few clubs, you could put it in here. So this is a great option if you're looking for how to ship. Great question, Jessica. All right, Chris. Well, it's that time. It's time for our flipping game.
Let's play a flipping game, y'all. So we got 5 flipping questions. We got 2 flipping dudes. There's got to be 1 flipping winner. We're going to need you to help determine that winner with question number 5. We're going to need audience participation to vote on that. Let's jump right into this thing. Jason, you are defending champion. Is that right?
I am 2-time defending champion. Last 2 weeks.
That's 2 times. Okay, here we go. All right. Well, I hope you're ready to bring it this week. I know I am for sure. Let's jump right into this. Biggest sale of the week. And actually, we're going 2 weeks. Is that right? Since we didn't do the show.
Yeah, 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks.
Biggest sale of the last 2 weeks.
All right, Chris, here you go. This came in 2 days ago. This was up. Let me get my mouse off the picture there. This Saunders lumber back traction home track device. You probably remember this from a few weeks ago. I sold one of these, found another one, and this one went for more money. It went for the full price, $279.83 plus 50 shipping, $329.83 all in.
That's ridiculous, man. What are you like are you now like a rep for this lumbar back traction company now? I mean, that's ridiculous.
So I sold that first one for my dad. And when I found that at the thrift store the second time, I was like, I know what that is because I just sold it. So I paid $75 for that to sell for $330.
It's a great testament for just being curious. And then when you find one thing randomly, all of a sudden now you're like an expert in that brand because you bought it. You probably looked at some other similar ones. You priced it out, and all that stuff. So awesome sale, man. All right. I got my biggest sale of the week. Not even close. So we already put one on the board for Jason with this one. I sold these rare Tiger Woods shoes. I picked them up at a thrift store for $10. They sold in 38 days. I got a total of $76 for these, including shipping. So 76 was my biggest sale of the week. I'll go ahead and I have our scoreboard updated. Jason with the shoes 1, Chris with the shirts 0. Moving on to question number 2. We're looking for biggest profit from the last 2 weeks on one single item. This is after shipping and fees. So biggest profit.
Before I show you mine, those shoes were really sweet, Chris. I remember you highlighting those a couple weeks ago. All right, here's my Facebook Marketplace sell that I alluded to earlier. I picked up this Philips VCR DVD combo for $7 not too long ago, probably 3 to 4 weeks ago. Sold it on Facebook, $100 plus 20 shipping, 120 all in, profit of $86.46.
Ridiculous. That's awesome, man. Good find, good flip. I'll go ahead. I'm ready with mine here. Biggest profit of the week was $33 after shipping and fees on this outdoor research jacket. This actually sold and shipped out this morning. Nice little brand. If you're not looking out for this brand, Outdoor Research is one of the premium outdoor brands. One of my favorite personal brands too. If this was my size, I probably would have kept it. Although being in Florida, I don't much need it. I actually thought that this would go for a little bit more money. It sat for a couple months, took an offer. What was the final stats on this thing? I sold for $55, including shipping. I made a profit of $33 on this. So updating, and I actually had 2 items that were both $33 profit items. But since this one had the lower cost of goods at $8, I went with this one. So updated scoreboard here. Jason with the shoes off and running with a 2-zip lead over Chris with the shirts. Let's jump right into fastest sale. Everyone loves fast sales. Fastest sale of the last 2 weeks.
Here we go. This just sold today, actually. Sorry, I was thinking about when it actually did sell. Yes, it was today. LL Bean cardigan sweater. It was even a men's medium. And I listed this yesterday. So it sold full price for $55.83 there. I paid $7 for this in Denver. And the total time was 21 hours, 28 minutes.
Nice. Good. Nice piece on that, by the way, too. And good fast flip. I love that. That's my size, by the way. I should have bought it.
Should have.
Let's see. I got mine up here. No, I don't. Yes, I do. So my fastest sale of the week was this Clean Canteen water bottle. I listed it and it sold in 2 hours and 32 minutes, which is wild. I didn't think that it would go that fast.
Wow.
There's a company label on it too, and I wasn't familiar with this. Search H2O, I guess. Search 2O is the brand, but anyway, it's a 40-ounce Clean Canteen. This is a really popular outdoor brand for water bottles. That's why I picked up on it. It's nothing fancy. It's just super lightweight with a screw top. Anyway, I accept an offer of, let's see, what did I get? I got a total of $17 for this. So I guess I got $12 plus 5 shipping on this thing. So made a quick $7 on it. Super easy thing to list. A couple of pictures, throw it up and gone. So nice little item there, $3 into 17.
That's a good flip.
I had a lot of fast flips, by the way. I noted 3 others that went in less than 5 hours in the past couple of weeks. I just had some stuff.
You probably had like several items that could have beat my one.
And I had a few that were actually, I probably had like 9 items that could have beaten your one, because I had a bunch that were like, I probably had 9 that were like right around the 24-hour mark or less. It's crazy.
Nice.
All right.
Round 4.
Scoreboard. Jason with the shoes 2. Chris is on the board. Shirts with 1. This is my favorite category. Slowest sale. Why is it my favorite? I love getting rid of this inventory that's just been sitting around and it won't move. Jason, what was your slowest sale of the last 2 weeks?
Well, you were talking about Jordans earlier, posting them on Facebook. I sold a pair of Jordans, but it wasn't a fast sale, unfortunately. So I picked up a couple pairs at a yard sale like a year and a half ago of these Jordan 5s. And believe it or not, I still have the other pair as well. So this was the first of the 2 to go from June 12th, 2019. I finally got $27 all in on this. I paid $3 for each of these pairs. So that was a total of 639 days sitting in a bin in the garage.
Dang, man. I'm guessing kids' Jordans aren't on your shopping list no more.
Yeah, I'm staying away from those for sure.
I got a couple of Jordans that are kind of sitting around, but they're adult ones. They're just not super desirable ones. All right, let me see here. Here we go. I got my slowest sale of the last 2 weeks. And actually, this is the slowest sale I've ever had on eBay.
Whoa.
So I picked this item up on my 4th day of thrifting, like as a flipper, with my eBay store. So this I picked up, I'm looking at my notes here, September the 15th, 2018 at Mile High Thrift in Denver. It's a Tommy Bahama jeans flannel shirt. It's a size small. You probably could have guessed that as soon as I, unveiled a shirt. Small men's is notorious for moving really slow on eBay. So I ended up getting full price for this. I got $19, including shipping on this. I paid $5 for it. It took me 920 days to put like that $7 profit in my pocket.
Wow.
It's sold. It's out of inventory. Literally, I have 2 items that are older than this in my inventory, like of all time. And I have another item from this same thrift trip that's still in my inventory. So that's it's nice to get rid of this really old stuff. 920 days. I've never had anything in inventory for that long.
Yeah, I can remember going back that far thrifting with you when you were first starting.
And I can tell you that it's probably been 790 days since I knew that this was a bad buy, if you know what I mean. Like, okay.
You didn't hear it from me though, right? You didn't pick it up because I told you.
Small shirts, not on my shopping list anymore.
Yeah, I understand.
Updated scoreboard here. We got a tie game, a barn burner here. Jason with the shoes 2, Chris with the shirts 2. Let's jump in. So we're going to need the audience to decide our game winner this time. This hasn't happened in a little while. Usually it's already decided by the time we get here. So are you ready, Jason, for this?
I am ready. I was hoping it'd be 3-1 and this would just be a play round.
No, this is all right here. So we're talking.
You got me nervous on my pick now, Chris.
We got that. You better be ready. We're talking about best pick of the last 2 weeks. We're going to need the audience to determine the winner. Put J in the chat if you think Jason's item is the coolest item. Put C in the chat if you think it's Chris's. Don't vote yet. Wait till we show you our stuff here. And I'll mention too that this isn't about like the most money on the item, whatever. It's just the one that you think is the coolest. And you can define cool however you want to define cool. If money is it, then money can be it. So Jason, show us your coolest pick of the last 2 weeks.
So let me just set this up because when you go into a thrift store and you see that item and you're like, I don't need to look up comps. I know that's worth money. Well, this was one of those items. And I'm going to stick with clothing here, but check out this tag.
Yeah.
Vintage Orvis. That's a very old Orvis tag there. But look at this piece. It's got like fly fishing patterns all over. This is a very heavy cotton, like outdoor shirt. It's even a large. Well, it's large. I thought it was a 2XL, but it's a large. Very great piece. I could not find a sold comp for this specific shirt. I've sold older vintage Orvis shirts, but I have this listed at 100. I'm hoping someone just comes up to make a good offer around 75 or 80 or snatch it for full price. So we'll see, but look at this guy.
Dang, that is a really awesome shirt. I love that Orvis vintage tag, that black tag, and I find it from time to time, but I've never seen anything like that. What's the material like? Is it kind of like a terry cloth or like a
Yeah,
sheet?
that's actually a way to go for knowing that term, Chris. That's a really good description because it feels like that. It feels kind of like a robe material. It's very soft.
Is it what size?
It's a large, but you add some layers under there, it'll fit.
I'm running. I'm hoping to go down sizes, not up sizes. Yeah, we'll find. I'm ready with mine. It's been sitting right back here this whole time. Y'all didn't
Oh
even
my goodness.
look at this fella. I'm going to move the mic a little bit here. Sorry if this makes some noise. All right. So look at this fella. I'm going to be careful with it too because it's listed. So this is Fiddler on the Roof. And if we look at the bottom, it says Fiddler's People by David Kaplan. And if you open this up, it's got the certificate. It's signed by David Kaplan, the artist here. And if you look on the back, you can see that it's limited 11 out of 500. And it says Kaplan. I don't know if you can pick that up. It says Kaplan 1968, which is important on this because apparently there was a similar one that was released in 1973. This one being the older one. And I'm thinking more sought after. But if you look at some of the details of this thing, look at that cool little, the bow that he's got there. You can also see one of the chips that it has. It has a couple little blemishes on it, but really cool detail work on this thing. There is a couple listed right now on eBay. One's listed for $45. One's listed for $50, both plus shipping. Neither of them have the bow. And overall, mine is in better condition. There's just a couple little dings here and there, but really primo condition on a piece from 1968. I have it currently listed for $129 plus shipping on this bad Larry. There isn't
129
the last 90 days, but I was able to use TerraPeak on eBay to do some research. And I saw a sale earlier. It was probably about 6-7 months ago. It went for $75. And it looked like, you can't see the details of those old sales, but it looked like it was also missing the bow. So I'm thinking I might be able to get 129. I'm going to wait around for the right buyer. Of course, I'll accept offers, but just kind of a really unique piece. Is one of those things you like. I kind of already walked by it and I was like, wait, yeah, I got to stop and look at that thing, And then when I picked it up and saw this certificate on the bottom, I kind of thought I was into something. And then when I looked at the back and it said 1968, I was like, okay, I got to look this thing up. Actually, I don't even think I looked it up in the store. I think I just looked it up when I got home. I was like, for $5, I'm going to take a shot on this thing. At the very least, it would make me competitive maybe in the game, right?
Yeah, that's a neat piece. I'm just counting because we've got a lot of votes coming in right away. So I'm counting them up to see where we are, but it looks like you're going to take it. We'll see.
If that was a size medium, I'd vote for yours because then I'd buy it from you. I'd give you a $14 offer for it right now. Live on the show, we could go back and forth with eBay offers.
Yeah, you've got, out of 17 votes, you've got 12 of them.
Okay. Do we want to give it another minute to leave this thing open?
I don't know, Chris. It's going to be hard to overcome that many votes. 12-5. I'm okay with just giving it to you right now.
Appreciate everybody voting with their heart and their minds.
Yeah, that was a good piece. 1968. I love that piece. You may have said this, and maybe I missed it, but what was it that stuck out to you that you were like, out of all the things on the shelf, that you were like, I need to look that up?
I had found this old piece made in Portugal at a thrift store in North Carolina over the holiday. I guess it was back in November when I was visiting family up there. And I looked it up. It was kind of it was a guy sitting on a bench with a dog. I think he was a drunk guy with a dog or something like that. And it just looked really neat. I looked it up and I was like, wow, this is worth a lot of money. And then I looked and there was a really big piece chunk that is missing that I didn't notice until I looked up the similar items. So I've always kind of been, and it was a similar style of artwork to this. I think it was from the 60s. So I've always kind of been, whenever I see something like this, it kind of catches my eye because I found that one item that was worth $100, that I wasn't able to pick up at the thrift store. So yeah, it's those experiences that kind of get burned into your brain. You're like, you know, it makes you alert to those things later on when you see them. So I'm glad I had that experience where I said it at the time, I said, look, I'm going to find another item like this because now I'm paying attention and know that there's potentially some money here. So near misses turn into later on money.
Yep. And we won't have time for a question of the night, but Carol does ask, did you finally sell Smallfoot? And you can see he's not here anymore. So yeah, I sold him right before vacation and shipped him out. I've replaced him with Minnie Mouse.
How much did you get?
$50.
No way.
Yeah, $50 with shipping for Smallfoot. Those of you that don't know, it was probably about the size of that Minnie Mouse, maybe even bigger. It was a shag Yeti. Smallfoot, I guess, is the character from a movie. So
that's awesome. Sales have been so great this month. It's funny that you had like a sale like that and just didn't even mention it till the very end of the show. And about it. Oh, no big deal. I sold that Sasquatch thing for $50. You know, that's awesome. But that's how March has been. I think for both, it's been really great that there's a lot of good sales that we haven't even brought forward.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people that commented earlier. We didn't have time to get to the comments, but that said their sales were up too. So it's awesome to see the reseller world kind of getting back out of that, you know, COVID lockdown, slow sales period. So I'm ready for some stimulus buys.
Oh yeah, you know, not only that, but we're moving into a better retail season. March and April and May are better clothing retail seasons than January, February are. Yeah, we got restrictions that are being loosened. We got a bunch of people who have $1,400 or $2,800 in their pockets now that they didn't have a couple of weeks ago. We got vaccines that are bringing people a lot of positivity. I saw an article earlier in the week where consumer confidence was up like 5 points, which is, I guess, pretty big in terms of like consumer confidence swings in just 1 week. So a lot of positive stuff going on there. I actually think that March is going to finish even stronger than it started. And I think April is going to be even better than March. So fingers crossed that continues.
Well, I hope you're right for all of our sakes.
And I'll be honest, like I'm looking at my sales preparing for the game today. I didn't have like a bunch of big ticket sales. I had a lot of bread and butter moving, which is awesome. I had a lot of stuff that was $25 to $35. I had a lot of stuff that was like 23 to 28 was like probably like 70% of my sales. Just a lot of that stuff that I have in my inventory that I find all the time, just that typical stuff that's just been moving, which is, I think, even better than kind of moving those big marquee, big dollar items because they're going to sell anyway. You know, they're going to sell.
Right.
To sell that bread and butter stuff, see that stuff moving.
Yeah, that is good. That's really good. Well, Chris, I think that's going to do it for our show tonight. Remember, guys, that we'll be back next week, next Thursday. So if this is your first time watching us this week, come back next week. And if it's not your first time, come back next week anyways. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show, guys. Thanks so much. We are so glad that you're joining us on these live shows and look forward to our future shows as well.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoyed it. Jason, great game today. Really enjoyed that. Peace, everybody.
Congrats on your win, Chris.